In July 2008, a single distorted image surfaced online, accompanied by a chilling story. It depicted a terrifying figure with a Glasgow smile carved into its face, eyelids burned away, and skin bleached white. This was Jeff the Killer, a creation that would soon infect the internet's darkest corners. But what if I told you the true origin of this iconic creepypasta is far more disturbing and far less fictional than you ever imagined? What if the face staring out from behind that screen belonged to a real person, their tragedy twisted into a monstrous urban legend? To understand the true horror lurking beneath Jeff the Killer, we first need to rewind to the dawn of creepypasta itself. In the late 2000s, the internet was a wild west of creativity, and fear was a rapidly appreciating currency. Anonymous forums, early social media, and nascent image boards became breeding grounds for short, unsettling stories designed to be passed around like digital whispers in the dark. Slenderman, Smile Dog, Zalgo. These were the titans of a new digital folklore. Jeff the Killer emerged from this primordial soup, but with a unique advantage, a shockingly visceral image that burned itself into the minds of anyone who saw it. The story in its earliest incarnations was simple. A normal teenager, Jeff, is disfigured in a bullying incident, loses his mind, carves his face into a permanent smile, burns off his eyelids, and becomes a relentless, psychopathic killer. "Go to sleep," he whispers, before ending lives. It was raw, immediate, and terrifyingly effective. But then an anomaly appeared. Whispers began that the image wasn't just a photoshopped horror, that it had a real source, a far more tragic and human one. The internet, ever a hive of both truth and fabrication, quickly coalesced around a name: Katy Robinson. The story went that in 2008, a young girl named Katy had taken her own life after being relentlessly cyberbullied. Her photograph, before her tragic death, had been brutally manipulated by her tormentors into the horrific image we now recognize as Jeff the Killer. Imagine the weight of that. The idea that a real person's suffering had been co-opted, disfigured, and immortalized as a symbol of pure, unadulterated evil. This narrative gained traction, fueled by sympathy and outrage. It seemed to offer a grim, real-world explanation for the unsettling power of the image. The original creepypasta story, once a standalone horror, now felt like a cruel mockery of a genuine tragedy. The image of Jeff, once a fictional entity, suddenly felt like a ghost, haunting the digital spaces where it was shared. But the internet, as always, is a notoriously unreliable narrator. As quickly as the Katy Robinson story took hold, cracks began to show. Skeptics questioned the timeline, the provenance of the image, and the lack of verifiable sources connecting it to a real event. The truth, it seemed, was far more convoluted, and in some ways even more unsettling. What they discovered next changed everything. Digging deeper into the origins of the alleged Katy Robinson photo, investigators and amateur internet sleuths traced the image not to a bullied teenager's tragic end, but to an entirely different, though no less disturbing, source. The face, the disfigurement, the unsettling quality, it was all meticulously crafted. It emerged that the original image, in its raw, unedited form, was never meant for the public eye, at least not in the same context. It was allegedly pulled from a Japanese image board, part of a collection of photos of a young woman named Katy. However, these images were not connected to cyberbullying or suicide in the way the popular narrative claimed. Instead, they were part of a much darker, fragmented story, often involving self-harm or a severe medical condition, which was then, by unknown hands, grotesquely exaggerated and transformed into the iconic Jeff. The exact details remain murky, obscured by layers of digital manipulation and the passage of time. The key takeaway, however, was that the image we all knew as Jeff the Killer was not a direct snapshot of a real person's cyberbullying tragedy, but a highly altered, weaponized version of someone else's pain or image, used to create a fictional monster. The tragic element of suicide was, in all likelihood, an embellishment added to give the viral image a more compelling, sympathetic, and ultimately more terrifying backstory. The monster was still there, but now the monster felt like a lie built on a deeper, unknown sorrow. To this day, the true, unvarnished origin of the original image used for Jeff the Killer remains shrouded in digital fog. Was it a photograph of a person, disfigured by accident or illness, then ruthlessly exploited? Or was it an early experiment in digital horror, using a real face as a canvas for grotesque artistry? We may never know the definitive truth, but one thing is clear. Jeff the Killer stands as a stark testament to the internet's power, not just to create compelling fiction, but to blur the lines between reality and nightmare, consuming real human experiences and spitting them out as something monstrously new. It shows us how easily a terrifying image can latch onto a narrative, and how quickly that narrative, however false, can become accepted as fact. The legend of Jeff the Killer isn't just about a fictional murderer. It's about the unsettling reality of how human stories, even tragic ones, can be warped, disseminated, and weaponized in the digital age. If you found this dive into internet folklore unsettling, then next week, we'll explore the unsettling origins of Ben Drowned, a story that may make you think twice before playing your favorite childhood games.